So all the everyday so for her, and what we do here is the same. Now when you see a problem, anyone with the interface, like because I'm a mentor.
Pour aller voir un de mes directeurs pour la deuxième signature parce que presque un arrivé à faire la deuxième signature.
But now, I'm not going to I've seen some like it. There is no heart that's empty.
J'ai un problème, il faut acheter tout le matériel pour maintenir les trucs debout ensemble. Pourquoi je ne peux pas faire le tirer comme je le veux? Il faut un truc pour maintenir ça debout. Les pieds. Ouais. Il y a souvent des trucs là, des tutoriels pour apprendre comment maintenir ça debout. Bon.
Pourquoi c'est penché en fait?
Pourquoi c'est penché?
Le câble sert à quoi?
La batterie, man, tu peux faire quoi sans.
Tu me dis que si peut-être tu laisses d'abord il charge un peu, là tu pourras faire maintenant.
Non, le véritable problème c'est que les appareils s'ils se déchargent trop vite. Là c'est même un truc que je teste encore. Je suis en plein.
Je vois que tu aimes beaucoup faire la vidéo. La vidéo finit très vite l'appareil.
Et justement, encore qu'ils sont pas des appareils spécialisés pour les vidéos donc.
Il faut avoir une bonne mémoire et une batterie très solide pour que ton appareil puisse faire la vidéo.
Donc ça c'est en plus direct que je suis en train de tester là. Il y avait déjà 20 personnes qui regardaient quand c'était sur. Plus de 20 personnes qui regardaient quand c'était sur Facebook. J'ai mis dans Inter-Africa le groupe même. On a mis ça chez. Non, là j'ai quitté Facebook, là maintenant je suis sur YouTube. Tape Inter-Africa, non? Là je peux pas parce que là j'ai lancé la vidéo en direct sur YouTube. Et j'ai balancé le lien partout sur WhatsApp. Donc c'est un wait and see. Comme je disais, il y a un problème de batterie.
So let's continue, right?
Yeah.
From the questions, I'm going to do it a bit different in Yaoundé. Because like usually we start with game design, but since most of the questions are about the whole of the industry, I'm going to start from the industry. So it's going to be an interactive one. I'm going to ask you questions, and then we're going to see the actual numbers. Okay? Before doing that, these are the two things you need to understand. We can categorize the whole gaming industry into two. One is what we call games for business, meaning actually making games to make money. Okay? And the other dimension is called what we call the games for social change, or they call it games for change. And this is actually for creating a social impact. Because we've said games are the best platform and or the best tool to change people's brains and to change people's mindsets. So you've seen, you can see these games everywhere, in church, in political places. You have like all these, what do you call, election phenomena, where people are going and voting. And if you look at it, it's a game, per se. People are feel, just because they voted, they feel they are in power. So they no longer revolt against their rulers. So it's games, you see them everywhere. And in a lot of ways, this kind of games to create a social change or like a behavioral change is what we call the games for social change. And we're going to see a couple of examples of them. So, but when you do these two projects, you have completely different scenarios, okay? So if you are doing games for business, or if you want to make a game and sell it, it's completely a different process than when you're making games for social change. If you're making games for business, you start from the need. Or what do people like to play? Or what do people like to do? Because you're going to make a game and people are going to buy it. So it's the people who are going to buy it, or it's the people who are going to give you the money. So you start from what people actually need. If you can't create what people actually need, you'll never get the money because they don't want it. So you identify the need, what the people want, and then you're going to create an experience or a game around that need. So if people want, for example, like we're going to see all these needs, okay? If people want to socialize and come together, and then you can create a family game. If people want to compete, gamble, maybe you could create a competitive game. Or if people want to be productive and like increase their memory skill or their agility skills, want to develop some skills, then we're going to make such kind of games, depending on what people need. If people are more into their culture and they want to listen to more Cameroonian music, or they want to learn about more Cameroon, if they are this pro-nationalist, then you're going to make a nationalist game. So depending on what people need, you're going to deliver on that. Okay? So that's what we mean like developing a game for people. And usually when you do games for business, you get the money, your investment from an investor. So no one's going to give you money. Because like to make a game, you need some money as well.
Yes.
So if you want to make a game and if you want to make, let's assume you need, I don't know, 100,000 francs for the game, you need to get it from them because not everyone is rich. So you have to take this idea and sell it to an investor, saying, I'm going to make a game and it's going to make 2 million francs. But to make it, I need 100,000 francs. And lend me and we'll share from the profit, okay? So this is how you do the negotiation. And usually like you have investors, they give you money and finally you publish it and you keep maintaining the game until you acquire the money. And this kind of, this is, honestly speaking, this is really far from the African current scenario. I'm pretty sure you can't just get 1 million francs from anyone. So this really rarely happens because we don't even have an existing industry per se. Okay? So usually if you want to do games for business, you have to use either your money or you have to borrow from family, collect, do a fundraising from your friends, and that's how you do it. There's another dimension, and which is ideal for our African context. This is what we call games for social change. Africa had a lot of problems. And most of the problems can be solved by creating engagement. By getting the people engaged. So that's another aspect of, and completely a huge industry, which we call the games for change industry. To do this, first we identify a problem, a social problem. And most of social problems, they have to do with mentality. For example, if you look at waste management, it's usually a problem of people not understanding, not being aware of what waste management, of how waste management affects their day-to-day lives. Okay? So you identify a problem, and what you do is you design an experience. Meaning, you design a game that will change the people's mentality in addressing that problem. Now, once you design this game, you create a proposal. And you go looking for not an investor, but a sponsor or a partner. For example, it could be the Goethe Institute or the World Food Organization or the United Nations or the African Union, whichever organization. So you take the proposal and you submit it to this, usually non-governmental. Even though sometimes even the government can't support. Because we have similar projects in the United States. So you get the money from the partner, you apply the solution, and you measure your impact in the society. And this is now more practical. And in our context, giving you our personal example, in Addis, for example, our startup, we have done more than 16 projects. Around like 13 of them are actually games for change. And there is a lot of money in the whole this social change environment, especially for Africa. So you can apply for a lot of programs where you can get money to work on a social project, and all you have to do is finally measure it and give it back. And if it's successful, they will give you more money. Okay? And this is a good place to start from, per se. And usually this is it has a long-lasting benefit on the culture or in your community as well. So always think of these scenarios. Which one is much better for you, and which one will work for you, and which one will not work for you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So always when you're talking about games for social change, these are the most common phenomena. You can, for example, we have an initiative called La Scuola, which is we're trying to contextualize the existing education system, because I don't know how the education works in Cameroon, but in Addis we have the system which was adapted from the Germans. And
from
the Germans.
Oh, from Ethiopia.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a good system, but the problem is it's not contextual. So I'll give you an example. There is this small village, 700 kilometers from Addis, and these people are actually like living in a role in this primitive way. They don't even have clothes and stuff like that. Then you take a physics textbook and give it there, and they have never seen a car, and the physics textbook you're talking about the speed of a car and acceleration of a car, which is never works. Okay, so then we have a problem of contextualization. The subjects, the topics, they are based on a Western culture, which is alien to our culture. So that's why, like usually, we have a very, very low amount of success rates when it comes to the education sector. The same works with the health sector. So you can do gamification, for example, for education, gamification for health. For business, you can go to a company and say, currently your employees, they are 25% motivated. If you apply, if you use my solution, their engagement will increase by 30%. Do this, okay? Like you can use such kind of thing. Tourism is an idea, especially we have one initiative. We use Exporto for tourism purposes. What we did is in Addis, when foreigners come, usually they look for a guide, and they work with a guide. So these guides, they are not certified. So it's luck. You might get a good guide or a bad guide. Okay? So what we did is we just used Exporto and we made the most iconic locations in Addis on the Exporto app. So all they have to do is, or when the tourists arrive there, is just download the app and play a game, and through the gameplay, they will discover all the special places in Addis. And they don't even need a guide. Because the app will help them as a guide. So it will help them from negotiating with drivers to finding a place, like paying for entrance, finding a good place to rest at, finding a good place to eat some food at. So it's really a good experience for them compared to an actual guide. Okay, and this is really good because like we have a lot of tourists coming to Africa. So
I didn't understand that it's from like how using business in the social gaming social change.
So what you know what happens? One of the most dissatisfying place is actually one of the most dissatisfying place for people is their workplace. A lot of people hate their workplace.
Right.
And this actually has a counterproductive. It's counterproductive for the employee.